Lights out in Athens inside Stegeman Coliseum as the Georgia Bulldogs perfect here at home, and they welcome in a top 10 team in NC State. First time they've been in the building since the early 2000s. As we say hello and welcome you in with the dynamic Andrea Carter, I'm Tiffany Green, and when you look at this matchup, Drea, they haven't met a lot of times. However, for Georgia, this is a big test for them.
This is a huge test for the Georgia Bulldogs. When you think about this NC State team, they've been tested a couple of times, fell short earlier in the season against Connecticut, and then pulled through against a tough Iowa team. The Georgia Bulldogs are looking to pass their first top 10 test so far this season as well.
And we will see a pair of diamonds that are cut differently for Diamond Battles. She has grit and grind. She has been through the pressure cooker.
Diamond Battles is Georgia's leading scorer and vocal leader. She can score in such a wide variety of ways, but you're right, Tiff. The key to Diamond Battles' success is her all-out effort. And Diamond Johnson, on the other hand, for NC State, is a player that makes everything look effortless. She has every tool in her bag to score the basketball, starting for her first season at NC State. She came off the bench last year. She's going to be a leader today as well.
Well, Johnson was the 6th player of the year a season ago, but the Diamonds shining bright for their respective teams. You see their season averages, and they will need big production once again from Diamond Battles, one of the transfers in for Georgia. Jada Boyd, meanwhile, one of 3 double-figure scorers for NC State, out with an ankle injury, so they will miss her production here tonight. Again, we mentioned the Wolfpack searching for their first win ever against the Georgia Bulldogs, the 10th meeting between the two teams.
This is a game that last season went to overtime. Georgia got the win by 2 points, forced a ton of turnovers. Now, this is a completely different Georgia team with an entirely new staff. We'll see how they operate tonight.
Coach Abe, as she's known, Katie Abramson Henderson, in her first season as the head coach of Georgia. Of course, she played here, won an SEC championship under Andy Landers, and now she is looking to take this Georgia Bulldogs team and make that next step for this group, and she is all about defense. On the other side, it's NC State's Wes Moore, 10th year in the program at NC State, coaching in his 300th career game for the Wolfpack, and we are just about set to get things underway here on Monday night on the SEC Network, and Georgia wins the tip, coming in at 8-1 on the season. Had a win last Thursday over Furman. Jordan Isaacs with the ball in her hand finds Diamond Battles, a name that we will call throughout this ball game. Look at her energy and effort, but also trying to find ways to get her teammates involved. Audrey Warren off the mark there. Taking a look at the starting 5 for the Wolfpack: Jakia Brown, Turner Madison, Hayes, Mimi Collins, and Camille Hobby. Hobby stepping in for Alyssa Cunane, who is one of those 4 departures from a season ago, but Hobby says, I can fill those shoes.
Yeah, Camille Hobby has had many opportunities. When Elisa Cunane last season got in foul trouble against Kansas State in the tournament, who stepped up? It was Camille Hobby. A couple seasons ago against Virginia Tech, she had to step up because Elisa Cunane had COVID. Now she has patiently waited for it to be her time, and she's shown up.
Well, nice in transition there as Johnson finds Mimi Collins for the score.
And Mimi Collins is going to be a player to watch tonight. She transferred from Maryland, playing less minutes at NC State than she played at Maryland last season, playing behind Jada Boyd. This is a big opportunity for her to show head coach Wes Moore what she's capable of.
Ball stolen away by the Wolfpack, and Diamond Johnson, he's running the point, swing it around. They find Hobby on the block. Working down low, the move just rims off the front iron. And for Georgia, one of the things that we've seen throughout this season so far, they have to find offensive production, ways to score, attacking the rim, being able to get second chance opportunities, third chance opportunities there as Brittany Smith sees that one go down.
The entire NC State staff will be fired up about the offensive rebound allowed there for Georgia. 2 opportunities. You don't want to give a team that struggles with outside shooting easy opportunities and multiple looks at the basket. They have got to keep Georgia off the glass.
Coach Moore has seen his team have great success, especially in recent years, coming off, of course, their ACC championship, both in the regular season and for the tournament, the #1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament the last 2 years. And a quick substitution by Coach Abe as Javin Nicholson comes in for Jordan Isaacs.
One thing that Georgia has is solid depth at the post position. Javin Nicholson, Brittany Smith, Jordan Isaacs, they can keep each other fresh, but great ball movement inside out. That is the perfect way to set up a three-pointer. Madison Hayes knocks it down.
Madison Hayes, who just had 2 points in that big win over Iowa. They want to see her get going. Zoisha Smith gets the ball back from Nicholson, attacking the rim. Off the mark, but good save there to keep it going. And that was something that Coach Abe stressed in shoot-around today. She wanted to see who wanted to come to play today in this big test against NC State.
And she was honest with them. She told them, I don't think we're ready to play. They struggled getting stops at times during their shoot-around against the scout team. She said, listen, whatever you have to do to get your mind right to go against this team, let's lock in, and this is what she's looking for.
On the steal, Warren finishes it off coast to coast. And Georgia now trailing by just 3, but that's where their defense leads to offense, and that's where they can be most effective. Wide open on the wing, and knocking it down is Madison Hayes again. Can't leave her open because she can do that. And this team shooting so well from the floor.
They have multiple players that can knock down three-point shots. 9 players have hit a 3 so far for NC State. It's tough because who do you guard? You can guard inside, you can guard outside. Right as I say that, Audrey Warren knocks down a 3. And when you look at Audrey Warren, this is a player transferred in from Texas, was more of a defensive player, was more of that hustle player. She still brings those aspects, but she is scoring more this season as well.
Stolen away right into the hands of Zoisha Smith. One-on-one battle with Diamond Johnson. She gives, and Smith lays it in. So a 1-point ball game. As Georgia's defense has been strong. Diamond Johnson off the mark. Brittany Smith coming up with the rebound. A number of new faces for this Georgia program, but Coach Abe very familiar with Brittany Smith and Diamond battles coming over with her from UCF.
Give Brittany Smith credit, that last defensive possession. She closes out on the wing until her guard bumps her down. Then she sprints back into the paint to get the rebound.
Taking it in on the drive as Diamond battles. She's fouled on the way up. Diamond Johnson whistled for her first personal foul.
Well, when we think about the last couple of buckets from Georgia, right? Steal and score, offensive rebound and score, steal and score, now free throws. So we talked earlier about how Georgia is a team that struggles shooting the basketball from the perimeter. What have they gotten? Layups and free throws, primarily off of their defense. That's how this Georgia team is going to thrive.
Battles able to give Georgia their first lead of the ball game, knocking down those 2 free throws. Georgia currently on a 7-0 run. Open along the baseline, and the mid-range jumper won't go for Mimi Collins. Brittany Smith with a defender in her face. Tough shot, knocks it down.
Brittany Smith has a smooth mid-range jump shot. And Audrey Warren has an incredible ability to draw charges.
You talked about her defensive effort throughout her career, and what does she do here? She gives up her body after this make from Brittany Smith.
Well, Georgia is absolutely rolling. Getting shots, knocking them down from the outside is a bonus because this is their bread and butter. Steal and score. The Georgia Bulldogs are running with their defense to offense.
With Georgia's defensive intensity picking up already in the early going of this ball game, the 3 forced turnovers have led to points for Georgia. and that's what's sparked them going on a run and now taking the lead.
And Georgia thrives off of their defense. You know, we can't say it enough for this Georgia Bulldogs team, and that is something that Coach Wes Moore talked about in the UConn game that he was disappointed in. Too many turnovers that gave UConn easy opportunities at buckets. And these are two defensive-minded teams, but they go about it in different ways. So you see NC State, they hold opponents to lower field goal percentages. However, Georgia makes up for it with those turnovers forced per game. So Georgia, teams might shoot a little bit better on them when they get those opportunities, but they're losing possessions because they're turning the basketball over.
And so then what does the adjustment that Wes Moore and his team need to make as they're talking about in the timeout?
Well, it's twofold. A couple of the turnovers were lazy cross-court passes. You can fake a pass to make a pass. And then another thing to think about, he mentioned this early in the Iowa game, he felt like they took quick shots. And a couple of possessions ago, they break the press, the ball gets skipped to Mimi Collins, and what does she do? She takes that shot immediately. It's a mid-range shot. Yes, it's one that she can hit, but it's an early shot. So settling in when you haven't made a few buckets, work the offense, go inside out and get a clean look. Because that quick shot and that miss, Georgia's running just like a turnover off of that shot.
Now the timeout. Alicia Lewis in the ball game, another new face that came over with Coach Abe from UCF that now knows this system. Single digits on the shot clock. Nicholson tries to get it down to Brittany Smith, and they turn it over.
And that's one that Javin Nicholson just needs a little bit better angle. Just turn your shoulders, turn your hips, get a wraparound pass, because that's a finish that Brittany Smith can make.
Pushing the tempo up the floor. First time in for River Baldwin on the miss. And the Bulldogs so far shooting 50% from the floor. They go down to Brittany Smith, high percentage shot for her, shooting 53% on the season.
You say high percentage shot, Tiff, and she also has a high motor. I mean, to pin and not get the basketball and then spin and pin again, turn and shoot it.
Nobody was down low to cover Mimi Collins as several black jerseys were swarming the basketball in an easy bucket for NC State.
Keep an eye on Diamond Johnson. She's had a couple of opportunities to just get through the defense on the dribble. You don't always want to do that. You want to break the press with the pass, but she's found her teammates out of it.
Nicholson from the free throw line and is able to knock it down. So right now in a groove offensively are the Georgia Bulldogs. Johnson going in and out, the step back, jumper won't fall. And Chloe Chapman tried to take it in and do it herself. Instead, here comes the Wolfpack. Sanaya Rivers checking into the ball game, coming off an amazing performance against Iowa and gets her first two of the game.
And Sanaya Rivers with her athleticism. If I'm Sanaya Rivers and I have her level of athleticism, I've already seen Diamond Johnson able to slash and get to the paint a couple of times. So that's what you're thinking if you're Sanaya Rivers. Beat this Georgia defense, score layups.
Johnson looking for Hayes. Hayes already with 6 points for the visitors. And a traveling violation called against Johnson.
Javin Nicholson able to step in and knock down the mid-range jump shot. That's something that you have to know. What are my spots? What is my range level? She steps in right into her range and is able to knock it down. The defense for Georgia, though, has made a big difference. They run that press. They try to speed you up. They go back into a 3-2 zone defense that is so active. That's what Coach Abe was begging for in shoot-around.
And back-to-back turnovers for each team. And Coach Abe has seen her team answer the call early on in this ball game. The larger Zoisha Smith trying to trail and stay alongside Diamond Johnson, who gets to the bucket and the miss.
For Diamond Johnson.
Someone's got to find Alicia Lewis.
But you see how that quick layup turns into an easy shot for Georgia, right? So you get all the way down, it's a quick shot. Now everybody's running back down on defense, and Alicia walks into a smooth, easy three-pointer.
Contested shot, tough there. And here come the Bulldogs, the leading scorer, Diamond Battles, thus far held scoreless so far, searching for her first two of the ball game. They swing it around the horn. And a 3-second violation called against NC State.
This is similar to what happened in the Iowa game that Westmore talked about, taking quick shots, struggling with their shot selection, and that is what has given Georgia opportunities to score.
And right now, Georgia with a 6-point lead under a minute to go in the opening quarter against number 8 NC State. Zoisha Smith just trying to slice through and weave through and finds the hoop.
So do you see what's happening? NC State's getting sped up. They're getting sped up to break the press, but then you have to find a way to de-throttle and settle down once you break the press and work the offense. They've taken really quick shots. Georgia's been able to come down and get their offense going off of that energetic defense. NC State in the second quarter, you have to guarantee the staff will be pleading for them to have better shot selection.
Stolen away by Sanaya Rivers with time winding down, and the shot is no good, but the Georgia Bulldogs with a 22-14 lead after one over 8th-ranked NC State.
And the one thing that you know this Georgia team is going to do is, one, play defense, but also hunt the paint. Zoisha Smith with the slash.
RSCC Network Women's Basketball triple header coming your way Sunday, December 18th. First off, it's Auburn hosting Samford at 1 Eastern, followed by SMU and Texas A&M at 3, and then capped off with Missouri and Illinois at 5. All right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. We talked about the new look that we have seen from this Georgia team. 10 new faces coming in, 6 transfers, 4 freshmen, but the three of those 6 transfers coming from UCF, coming over with Coach Abe and her staff. And what's the difference that they make?
This is huge. They make a tremendous difference because it's not like Coach Abe and her staff came to the University of Georgia and said, okay, let's see what works for this group. Let's see what's best for this group. No, this former UCF staff came to Georgia and implemented their style of play, their standard, their full court press, their 3-2 defense, their all-out effort. What do you need to implement something that hard? You need players that know it. You need players that trust it. You need players that have been through it and experienced the success that comes from it, because it's really hard to buy into something that's that difficult. So those 3 players from UCF that know Coach Abe and know that level of work that she demands, huge for this team.
Also very helpful given the fact that she's still trying to install her system and culture. And so you need those culture bearers, if you will, to kind of say, all right, let's help permeate through this team and get the message across.
That's one thing she talked to us today at shoot-around about. She said she needs this team to fight through the hard. She said players want it easy. When you win a championship, people cry because it was so hard. They don't cry because they're happy. They cry because it took so much work and you're exhausted. And she said she wants this team to get to that point where they can fight through the hard.
Thus far, they have been fighting hard against this Wolfpack group. And whistle for the foul there, the personal going against Jessica Timmons. Georgia on the inbound. Diamond battles, kicks it out to Warren. Warren for three, and she's able to knock down the triple. Audrey Warren, who had herself a nice Paradise Jam, had a couple of double-figure games in there, knocking one down from downtown.
Audrey Warren played the 4 at Texas, at times the 5 when they went with their small lineup, but Coach Abe said she wants to be a pro, she wants to play the 3, and she has been spending time in the gym working on her shot.
Offensive rebound and a second chance opportunity for the Bulldogs. Warren, who's been through a number of concussions during her time at Texas. Now 3 to go on the shot clock. Got to get it up. A tough one through traffic, and somehow Diamond Battles makes it. Wow. And that's the epitome of the player that Coach Abe wants in this program, and you see why she's a difference maker.
This is what it looks like to fight through hard, right? One player, the shot clock winding down, you get past your defender, and you meet 2 more defenders, slice through them, finish. You see how her eyes were still on the rim as she is falling and fading to the ground? What did Coach Abe talk to us about? She said, whoever is guarding Diamond Battles is going to be in foul trouble because she's so smart, she's so good with her body, and she is able to draw fouls. Not only did she draw the foul, but she finishes as well.
The preseason All-SEC selection is Diamond Battles, and right now, Georgia up big. Wide open there again was Mimi Collins, but good recovery from Javin Nicholson.
And that's okay. That's great for Georgia. 10 seconds left on the shot clock.
And then bailing them out with the foul right there at the end on Jessica Timmons.
So you see all of the effort that it takes to run this press, right? The ball gets skipped over the top. Javin Nicholson recovers. You make NC State slow it down. They have 13 seconds to operate their offense. The last thing you want to do is bail them out with a foul. You work so hard to make all of it happen. Just got to stay disciplined on defense. Controlled closeouts once NC State brings that ball back out.
Timmons knocks both of them down. Again, Georgia shooting the ball really well thus far. 55% from the floor, 11 of 20 overall. Diamond Battles, who is fouled on the three-point shot. Westmore can't believe it. And Timmons, her second personal foul. Look at it again.
And as we're watching, you can't see the cut that Diamond Johnson makes, but she is sprinting so hard into that cut. What does that do to the defender? It speeds the defender up. So it's hard to recover and stay under control in that shot, and it leads to a foul. It's the hard cut that made the difference. So she comes into the paint, and it's a sprint. You see how she just changes speed? She picks up speed right as she is making that cut. Timmons is a step behind, so she speeds up as well. I've been in that position. It's not fun. So you're trying to catch him, and you end up making contact.
Well, Battles has rimmed out her first 2 free throws. And knocks down the third.
And free throws are great for Georgia because what does it do? Allows them to set up their defense.
And this is playing right into the hands of Georgia's defense because they wanted to force them into the half court. Westmore wanted to get out and run some more. But right now, just very difficult possession, but Diamond Johnson says, okay, you leave me a little bit of space and open, and I'm gonna make you pay.
And Diamond Johnson is a player that can get hot, and it looked like coming down the floor, she shook her head almost like is someone else going to guard Diamond Battles. She doesn't want to pick up another foul.
Battles elevates off the mark. Brittany Smith ripping that rebound down and away. And Smith and Collins were tangled up, and Collins will be whistled for the foul.
When you talk about a smooth, effortless shot, great pass by Jakia Brown-Turner as well, not panicking down on the baseline, caught in a tough situation. Diamond Johnson is a player that can get hot from beyond the three-point line. She's made multiple threes in every game so far this season. Knockdown three-point shooter.
Georgia in the bonus, so they'll shoot 2 free throws the rest of the way with 6:57 to go in the first half. And Smith, who was the Americans' 6th player of the year a season ago, now with 7 points here tonight. Johnson kicks it over to Madison Hayes, who's already knocked down a 3. Battles wisely waits for everyone to get across half court, sets it up, and then is directing. Quick release. And a foul underneath the basket goes against Georgia, their 2nd team foul.
It's been a fun battle on the inside between Camille Hobby and Javin Nicholson. Haven't seen much of Jordan Isaacs tonight, but both teams know the importance of cleaning up the glass.
Isaacs, who started the ball game and then was taken out shortly thereafter. Battles trying to go around, kicks it over to Lewis. Nicholson got a hand on it. Here comes Diamond Johnson and the Wolfpack. Another 3 off the backboard, in and out.
That's great hustle and effort by Jakia Brown-Turner. Talk about the importance of the offensive glass and getting some of those second chance points. Coach Moore talked about, though, when we've missed a couple of threes, let's get an inside touch. Madison Hayes missed a 3, Diamond Johnson missed a 3. Coming back down the court, try to work that offense, go inside out.
Jakia Brown-Turner knocking down the first free throw. A senior who's been through this program, starter on several watch lists, and she's able to get a couple.
She's a player that's had a semi-slow start to the season, Coach Westmore talked about, but against Iowa, 17 points, did a really nice job at hunting the paint. She can look to do that tonight.
The turnaround, tough shot there for Brittany Smith, but following the basketball, finds it, rebounds it. And Audrey Warren. They're pulling the trigger from 3, not hitting, but oh my, the extra effort from Javin Nicholson inside. Again, another O board.
And it's a mismatch. NC State right now with Madison Hayes playing at the 4 position. She's a natural guard. They played her some there last season, but that's a matchup that Javin Nicholson can take advantage of.
Stolen away by Warren, who just wanted it more. Out on the break is Zoisha Smith. Tough shot in. But again, falls in the hands of the Bulldogs. So far, 7 offensive rebounds, or correction now, 8 for Georgia.
And this is where, if you're NC State, you have to work the offense.
Well, a 3-second violation goes against them, and they turn over the basketball. Will step aside with 4:30 remaining here from Athens. It's V-Week at ESPN when we honor Jim Valvano's legacy and highlight the urgent need for cancer research. For more information, visit espn.com/VWeek.
Such an important cause. You know, we heard, I thoroughly enjoyed listening to Ketch and Carolyn and Courtney Lyle in the Tennessee-Virginia Tech game talk about the importance of this cause and raising money for research. I know my Aunt Inga, breast cancer survivor, it hits close to home for so many people what the Jimmy V Foundation is striving to find a cure for.
Indeed, the legacy. And when you think about, we were talking earlier with the crew from NC State, their radio crew, and Ronnie Myers, the analyst on the broadcast, played for Jim Valvano, part of that 1983 championship team. Think about Kay Yow's legacy, also with NC State, great head coach, who had a strong battle with cancer.
Absolutely.
So back here in this ball game, a 9-point advantage for Georgia. And if you're just tuning in, Drea, give our viewers a quick summary of how we got here.
Well, NC State playing into Georgia's hands with quick shots and poor shot selection after breaking the press. Georgia thrives off of their defense, their pressure, and then Georgia has shown a lot of patience on the offensive end for the most part.
A 3-second violation, and that ends the Georgia possession. Georgia now with 8 turnovers on the ball game, but they've also forced some turnovers for NC State. Tried to get it inside to River Baldwin, and out of bounds. When you look at this NC State offense, what's keeping them out of sync?
It looks like they're playing on their heels, and it's one thing, you want to be aggressive and play fast, but then you want to slow down because you have to show patience. And now, so it looks like NC State's slowing down, but now they're playing on their heels. So you still want to be aggressive. You still want to show a jab step, maybe dribble and attack a gap, then kick it out against the zone. So you're still playing with tempo, but you're not rushed. They have to find that balance.
Smith running into her own player, own teammate rather. 5 to go on the shot clock. And right up in the grill of Diamond Battles, and Diamond Johnson picks up the personal foul. And remember, Coach Abe said, hey, whoever's guarding her could very well foul out, and Diamond Battles right now back at the free throw line.
She's just smart with the basketball, and it's actually a good thing. That's only Diamond Johnson's first foul. I thought she had one earlier, so that's only her first. I've enjoyed the matchup between these two. Diamond Johnson, a player that is known as a scorer, but takes pride in the defensive side as well. You see her moving her feet, high hand. This is a fun battle to watch, that when you're a competitor, you just want to keep the person in front of you and stop them from what they are trying to do. And you can tell that's what she wants to do against Battles.
8 points now for Georgia's leading scorer, coming in the ball game and quickly to the basket. A make there for NC State.
I like Isaiah James coming into the game, playing aggressive. If you have a layup and no one steps in front of you, keep going, knock it down. One thing to look for, Diamond Johnson just did an excellent job going over the screen against Diamond Battles. It's a tricky situation because if you bump them, they could call a foul. But earlier today, NC State worked on icing the ball screens, basically not letting her use them. Look for them to go to that at some point today.
And the comparison thus far between the Diamonds and Diamond Battles winning it so far, at least in the point column, and her team is up 32-23 where it matters most. Stolen away by Sanaya Rivers, a fun player to watch, and then just losing control on the way to the bucket. So after she steals it away, she hands it right back over.
Sanaya Rivers attempting to give Audrey Warren a taste of her own medicine by creating a steal and going to attack, but Audrey Warren with her defensive instincts out of the charge circle, and she didn't even have to be out of the charge circle because the play started so far away from the basket. She sets up, beautifully executed charge. Didn't hang her head about the turnover.
Well, we talked about it before the broadcast, and we heard some even in the shoot-around that Georgia felt like they were the underdog coming in. And so Coach Abe says, hey, we don't have the pressure on us. We have nothing to lose here. Sanaya Rivers off the mark on three, foul away from the basketball.
And it's been a physical battle on the inside. If you want to talk about toughness, look at Brittany Smith cutting to the basket, checking Mimi Collins, getting the offensive foul. You saw them battling down here on this side. Look at the inside play. Just keep your eye on it. Because these fours, these fives, these forwards, these posts, they're very physical with each other on the inside.
Sanaya Rivers, who comes into this NC State program, very familiar with the SEC, having played with the South Carolina Gamecocks, national champions from a season ago.
I talked to Sanaya pre-game about choosing NC State. She said it was almost automatic. She talked to Coach Westmore. She wanted to be a little closer to home, and she said she is having so much fun with this group. Really shined in their last game. I mean, knocking down shots, shooting from beyond the arc, slashing to the bucket, showing her athleticism. She said she is doing everything she wanted to do here with this team.
Isaacs back in the ball game for Georgia. Handing it right back over. So you think about a player like Rivers, you talked about coming off a career best 22 points over the Hawkeyes. First career game in double figures, and also had 5 assists, 4 steals, to your point of just that complete performance. Collins, the turnaround, mid-range, won't fall. Chloe Chapman, who played a couple of seasons on the Georgia soccer team, committed to basketball now the rest of the way. And
NC State showing scouting report defense by basically staying in the paint when Chloe Chapman catches the basketball. Whoever is defending her, they are sagging off. They know that she wants to get to the rim. She's not a player that is going to shoot the basketball very often from the outside.
And Hobby won't go, tries again, no go. This time the dice falls inside and down for Mimi Collins.
Mimi Collins is excited about this play because of how physical, again, this game has been all night long. What do we talk about? Offensive rebounds. When your team is struggling from the offensive end, how can you pull them out of it? Hustle plays, getting on the glass, and especially getting an and one.
So Mimi Collins trying to energize her team, missing the free throw there. 5-point ball game.
This is where, if you're NC State, you turn up the defensive energy. Get a stop, get a score, cut into this lead right before halftime.
NC State started out strong, and then things picked up for Georgia in their defense. They found ways to put the ball in the hoop, and NC State will get the ball back. 35.7 seconds remaining.
See how open around the SEC logo is? You can get a cutter there. You can flash, you can X, get an inside touch, then kick it out for a three. Look for them to run an overload here and get the ball to the inside.
A chance to cut it to one possession. Rivers working on Chapman, trying to create a little separation. It's short. And now Collins getting the rebound, and the old board turns into points. 4th offensive rebound for NC State, and they cut it to 3. Well, despite not shooting their normal clip, held to a season low in this first half on the road, the Wolfpack close out the half strong, going in to the locker room on an 8-0 run.
Give Mimi Collins credit. Again, NC State without Jada Boyd, a starter this season, who stepped into her role. It was Mimi Collins. That Georgia defense left its mark, but NC State fought back. We got a close one.
Welcome back into Athens. Just about the start of the third quarter, 32-29. It's the Bulldogs on top as they try to remain perfect here at home. Saturday afternoon, we have a men's basketball doubleheader. It's Yale and Kentucky at 1 Eastern, noon Central, followed by Valparaiso and Ole Miss. Both games are live on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. Welcome back courtside. Andrea Carter, Tiffany Green here with you, and we saw NC State get out to a quick little lead, but then there was a burst we saw from Georgia, led by as many as 14, but then what happened?
Well, listen, Georgia got it done in the beginning of the game with their defense. What does Georgia want to do? They want to cause turnovers, they want to speed you up, and they want to get the basketball and sprint down the court to score those layups. However, in the second quarter, Georgia ended up turning the basketball over more. Georgia, 9 turnovers in the second quarter, 6 turnovers in the final 3.5 minutes, and that is how NC State was able to cut into that 14-point deficit. So this is the start of the game, right? Georgia turning the ball over. What does Audrey Warren do? She creates those turnovers. She gets steals. She goes and gets layups. That's what Georgia wants to do, and that's what they were able to do. So Isha Smith with the layup in transition. Georgia working their defense, but then NC State, same thing. Solid on the defensive end. They start creating turnovers and leading to buckets. The second half is going to come down to who can take care of the basketball and who can bring defensive energy. We saw glimpses of it from both sides. It's going to be important in the second half.
Well, NC State going into the locker room with some momentum, taking advantage of those turnovers late. Meanwhile, you look at offensive board production. NC State very good on the glass. However, Georgia has been able to hang with them, leading in that category 23-11. So again, second chance opportunities have also helped the Bulldogs as well. Diamond Battles coming through with 8 points. Audrey Warren with 8 points to lead the way for the Bulldogs on the other side. You look at Madison Hayes, who dropped a couple triples in this ball game. Mimi Collins also, who has emerged. But you mentioned Jada Boyd not on the floor, out with an injury. And so this was an opportunity for Collins and others to step up, and she's done so thus far.
Jada Boyd, you see her there sitting with the boot. I asked her pregame, I said, are they going to hear your voice today? What's your presence going to be on the bench? She said, absolutely. And we talked so much about both of these teams and how so many players are in new positions, right? When you think about Kayla Jones, the vocal leader for NC State last season, she's not here this season. Who has that vocal leadership for this group? It is yet to be seen.
Georgia with basketball to start this second half, going inside to Brittany Smith. Pinballed around, coming up with it was Jordan Isaacs, got a shot up. And it's NC State basketball. Well, to your point, you talk about losing that core, those seniors that graduated, Alyssa Kune, the All-American post, the 3 guards, and Kayla Jones, Kai Crutchfield.
Raina Perez
as well. I mean, their production is missed sincerely, but their leadership all the more. And yes, when you say production, well, what does it look like? Here are some numbers here to back up just what they did in their great career with NC State.
It's production, but it's also experience, and it's trust, and it's chemistry. Coach Wes Moore said when he talked about it, he said there was so much chemistry within that group and between those players. They played so many games and just had such a great basketball background with each other. Now you've got players coming in that didn't play very many minutes last season, didn't play in intense situations. They're still learning to have that chemistry in those tough moments. It's easy to have chemistry when the game is going well. It's hard to have chemistry when it's tight and things get intense.
Chloe Chapman off the mark, but the ball will stay with Georgia. So 19 seconds on the shot clock remaining. And Audrey Warren will inbound it. Well, running through and picking up the foul is Brittany Smith, that moving screen there.
Georgia looking to run an elevator screen and, I don't know about that one.
In the corner for three. Well, it's a long two, they say. Now they change it. It's a three-point bucket.
And NC State running the overload to work that 3-2 zone defense. Didn't see much of that in the first half. They executed there.
Diamond Johnson trying to run it up in there. Camille Hobby with the offensive rebound, and it falls. Timeout taken on the court, and they said that basket from Mimi Collins was a long two.
You see, you get the defense up. The bump is late. Mimi Collins, that
toe might be behind the line.
I think you give her three.
Look that way to me. We'll see if they look it over and make another decision. 34-32 at the moment. NC State regaining the lead, and again, their offensive execution working so far in the second half.
And this is what you want to do against the zone. One, you get the ball into the middle of the zone, make it collapse, and then here, what you're going to see, Audrey Warren comes up to help on the screen, so now Jordan Isaacs has to come to the wing, so you freeze it here. You got two players on the ball. The pass to Mimi Collins, she's able to knock free. She knocks it down. That is beautiful execution of zone offense that we did not see in the first half.
And they did indeed award her a three-point bucket, traveling violation, and handing the ball right back over. 16th turnover now for the Bulldogs. Gotta watch out for Collins in the corner again, this time going inside in the paint, and high percentage shot there for Camille Hobby.
Quick ball reversal, attack of the paint, draw the defense, dump the ball off. Again, offensive execution. Diamond Johnson has done a nice job facilitating and finding her teammates off the drive.
Brittany Smith. Zoisha Smith coming up with the O board. Once more trying to go inside to Brittany Smith. She falls hard to the floor. And it stays with Georgia, 14 on the shot clock.
But the shot that Mimi Collins made Brittany Smith take earlier, before the offensive rebound, that's the shot you want her to take. She wants to turn baseline. She wants to turn and finish over her inside shoulder. Making her turn towards the middle and shoot over defense, that's a tough shot, that's solid defense.
Got to giddy up, tough shot there for Alicia Lewis. And 1 second remaining on the shot clock. Got to look to just try to tip it up. Instead, violation.
If you're NC State, you'd rather just get the ball off the miss and take it down, because now Georgia gets to set up the press, but they've done a nice job executing their press break and then attacking on the offensive end.
They're able to get it across half court, and Mimi Collins is wide open underneath the basket, asking for it, and they feed her. 13 points now to lead the way for all scores is Mimi Collins.
Excellent execution. We can't say it enough, and we talked early in the game about this being an opportunity for Mimi Collins to step up, averaging 6 points coming in tonight, 17 minutes. She's gotten more playing time with Jada Boyd out, and she's made the most of it.
When you look at a player like Mimi Collins, who comes in to this program, 2018 McDonald's All-American, that's one of the ways that Westmore was able to utilize the transfer portal and get players who have good experience coming over from Maryland after starting her career at Tennessee. Mimi Collins is making her mark here tonight as Lewis with the jumper. Alicia Lewis with her 5th point of the night. Collins says she's feeling it. Off the mark. Long rebound chased down by Javin Nicholson. Tough shot flipped up by Brittany Smith. Almost got the favorable bounce.
Give Alicia Lewis credit for this mid-range jump shot, because look at the activity of Diamond Johnson. High hands, but Alicia Lewis gets her sliding backwards just a hair, and she's able to create space for that shot. It's frustrating as a defender when that happens. You know, you're active, you're up, they get you leaning, and then they pull up for the shot. You're like, come on now.
I did all I could.
You're using my momentum against me. Painful.
4-point advantage for the 8th ranked Wolfpack. Diamond Johnson, a little start and stop, picks up her dribble, finds Mimi Collins. A wide open look for Jakia Brown-Turner. Eye off the glass. Mimi Collins working down low. She wanted that one to fall, but she'll shoot 2 at the charity stripe.
NC State cutting into the offensive rebounding deficit that they had at halftime. Their activity on the glass has been a difference maker, and their patience on the offensive end and working the zone offense has been a difference maker.
The top 25 in a number of statistical categories when it comes to rebounding and rebounding margin. Field goal percentage, a 3-point percentage. They've shot the ball well. They've been able to rebound the ball well. That's led to their success in a 7-1 record thus far and top 10 ranking. And to kind of use what we've seen Coach Abe's team do, kind of fighting through the hard. It was NC State who kind of weathered through the storm and fought through some hard moments and regained the lead.
But if you think about it, NC State's done it. They didn't do it against Connecticut, but they did that against Iowa. Coach Westmore said every time Caitlin Clark scored, we had an answer. We handled Iowa's runs. Basketball is a game of runs. It's going to happen. NC State has handled it before. They've been able to handle it tonight so far, getting the lead.
Alicia Lewis, who was a 3-point specialist, and there the sharpshooter is able to knock that one down. And that's the life and energy that this Bulldog team needs to see in the half court.
Absolutely, and that's huge, because if you have a 3-point shooter, it creates space on the offensive end.
And then it gets her active defensively.
And then you make a play on the defensive end, and now the Dogs are rolling.
Outrunning. And Diamond Battles gets back, but slipping through is Camille Hobby. Hobby, you just have to appreciate the way she's been a mainstay, played behind Alyssa Cunane for a number of years, but stayed with the program, and prior to this season only had 1 career start. Now she's making the most of her opportunity.
Well, especially with the transfer portal. You know how many players would leave when they don't get playing time? So yes, absolutely. give her a ton of credit. But you also have to give Alicia Lewis credit for knocking down threes. This is something that Georgia has not been strong with, but she is able to do. The bench is excited about it.
Mimi Collins is getting it done here in the third.
She is absolutely coming out with so much energy at halftime. I don't know what she ate, I don't know what she drank, but it was the right combination. We've talked about Mimi Collins. Her season high last season at Maryland was 18. She's got 15 on the night. High activity levels. She has been physical, banging inside of the paint. She's got the ability to knock down the three. It was her moment because Jada Boyd is unavailable tonight with that ankle turn, with that injury. Mimi Collins, her name has been called, and she's answered.
6 of 9 shooting from the floor to go along with 5 rebounds and pacing all scores with 15 points. Mimi Collins stepping up in the right moments, and right now our team with a 5-point advantage on the road. Both Battles and Camille Hobby fell to the floor, but Hobby popping back up just enough time to grab that defensive rebound.
I like the play call, though, by Georgia out of the timeout. Alicia Smith has hit a couple. Get her a little handoff. She missed it, but it was a good look.
Poking that one out of bounds was Diamond Battles. 14 to go on the shot clock. Diamond Johnson looking over. They find Mimi Collins with the ball in her hands with 3 to go on the shot clock. Tried to force it in there to Hobby, and into the hands of the Bulldogs.
There's still a connection piece, Tiffany, that's developing between the NC State players. And you can tell it's a dribble before the entry pass, or it's a hesitation before you dump the ball down to each other. Mimi Collins missed Camille Hobby early in the game. That pass was delayed. This is something that you will see improve as the season goes on.
Alicia Lewis was blocked by Sanaya Rivers. The length of Rivers affecting that one. Camille Hobby from the corner, the elbow rather. Camille Hobby contributing 10 points here tonight. We talked about the 3 double-digit scores for this Wolfpack team, and Camille Hobby not a part of it, but she's had a strong game here tonight. Diamond Johnson asking for it. And it goes through a few players' hands and lands with the Wolfpack. Again, a lot of contact, a lot of physical play that we've seen, and you pointed that out a number of times tonight.
I'm telling you, it has been a battle. There's a lot of reasons why I never played the post, but all that physicality down there, Rebecca Lobo would be very pleased, I believe, with at least the physicality of the post players tonight.
That's because you were too busy giving up your body for charges and diving on the floor for 50-50 balls and, playing tough defense.
There's a difference, though. We're going to talk about it, but the shot clock's winding down. I thought she was going to hit it. I'm not going to lie. She can hit that. When she's going left with the ball in her hands, that space dribble for Diamond Battles, she likes to shoot those threes.
Now we got a chance.
Well,
Bangers inside. What's that like?
To get back into it, first we're going to talk about some great defense because Sanaya Rivers caught on the screen but doesn't give up on the play, uses her length, and Camille Hobby. Talk about those post players, showing them some love. But I believe there is a significant difference between having constant contact with someone in the post and then stepping in for a charge as a guard. There's just a difference in that physicality level. Give post players credit.
Say levels to this thing.
There's levels to this.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Georgia has gone cold from the field, shooting just 14%. They can't buy a bucket here out of the locker room.
In NC State, only 2 turnovers so far this quarter. So it tells you that Georgia's offense is determined by their defense. They are in such a better flow. Again, Sanaya Rivers with the block up top. That's a matchup that she has won so far.
Quick scouting report if you're just tuning in. Sanaya Rivers, athletic, fast, great size, length, all of that. I mean, she's just a dynamic player. Westmore knows he's got a present with a bow wrapped on top, coming back to her home state of North Carolina.
We were told that Westmore let out a big yell at an event when he found out Sanaya Rivers was coming.
Shot clock was winding down, but a second chance opportunity for this Georgia offense. Audrey Warren with a great look and knocks down the three-pointer.
Coming into this game, Audrey Warren was 23% from beyond the arc. But at this point, she's 3 of 5. You've got to get out and guard her.
4-point ball game here to go in the third quarter. 8th ranked NC State searching for their first win ever against the Georgia Bulldogs. River Baldwin trying to use that left hand. Madison Hayes really wanted that one. But NC State comes up empty. Georgia going inside to Brittany Smith. It's stolen away by Diamond Johnson. Doesn't have numbers. Wisely pulls it back out. Waiting for the last shot of the quarter. A little hezzy. In the corner is Sanaya Rivers, the triple. Boy, what a surge there from Sanaya Rivers to close out that third quarter. A couple of blocks to go along with a three-pointer as well, and stretching the lead back out to 7 for NC State.
NC State came out at halftime with so much energy, especially behind Mimi Collins in that third quarter. But right to end this quarter, they were 1 of their last 10 shots. So what does Diamond Johnson do? She's patient. She works the defense and sets Sanaya Rivers up perfectly for 3.
Crossover, step back, your ankles is weak.
For those that don't know, Christmas came a little early with a special Santa Claus visit. The great Andy Landers giving me a hard time for using my hands while I'm talking, giving me a hard time about everything because that's what he is the best at. But what a great guy. We miss him. We love him. He misses us too. He looks like he's a little frustrated.
Yeah, we asked him if he wanted to come on and hop on heads for a second and, you know, give us some insight, but he deserves to kick back.
Absolutely.
And relax. 36 season poured into this program. Tremendous success. First ever head coach here at Georgia, taking them to 5 Final Fours, 11 Elite Eights. And look at there.
They need a suite for him.
They do.
They need a throne for Landers. Right here sideline. Just a big throne for him. Leaning back with his arms crossed, scoffing at everyone. That's Landers for you. He's the best.
Won 7 SEC regular season championships, including now the 3rd ever head coach with Georgia. Coach Abe, a part of that 1986 team. I mean, think about the players that he had. I mean, you think about Katrina McLean and Teresa Edwards. I mean, these are great. Carla Green, like, he built something incredibly special. Meanwhile, you talked about Georgia.
Well, why he had his arms crossed.
Yeah. He probably is not pleased by the way that the Bulldogs came out of the locker room after putting up 32 points in the first half. They went pretty cold there in the third. Diamond battles one and it heat things up to start off this fourth quarter.
And those are her first 2 points of the second half, and she's putting her hands in a circle motion like, okay, let's go. First half, she did a great job at least getting to the free throw line. She has to get going for Georgia.
Diamond Johnson asking for River Baldwin going one-on-one with Brittany Smith. Bounces out and boxing out and getting that rebound is Mallory Bates. Audrey Warren with the floater. Audrey Warren has had herself a nice game tonight. 13 points overall. Tied her season high rather with 3 3-pointers as well. Lewis got a hand on that one. Diamond Johnson, who we talked about in the open, team's leading scorer, just held to 3 points tonight.
And you see that quick first step. She has been limited tonight, done a nice job at finding her teammates, but I want to go back, look at the denial by Sanaya Rivers to Audrey Warren, not letting her get the handoff. We talk about that defensive effort, but then Audrey Warren gets her because her defensive effort makes her lose her feet, and then Audrey Warren knocks down the jump shot. It's such a fun cat and mouse game, this game of basketball. I get so excited talking about it. It's been a fun one tonight.
Indeed it has, and Diamond Johnson, who we featured in the open, you talked about the way that she has distributed the basketball, facilitated and helped her teammates get involved. 5 assists on the night. She matches that in points.
Audrey Warren has played great. You talk about Diamond Johnson not scoring as much as we are used to her being able to score the basketball. Audrey Warren passing what we're used to from her as far as offensive production. And
scoring on Diamond Johnson over her as Warren right now.
Audrey Warren's tied her season high threes made with 3. She's got 15 points on the night, averages 8. Just a stellar performance from Warren so far.
Lewis behind the back dribble. Taking their time in this possession. Bulldogs looking for their shot off the screen. Battles can't hit.
Georgia dropping back into their zone defense, not extending that full court pressure, quarter court pressure. We've seen NC State this second half operate well against the zone.
Johnson slicing through, but called for the traveling violation. And a dozen turnovers tonight for the Wolfpack.
And it's difficult against the zone. I mean, Diamond Johnson is a player that can get by you with her first step, but in a zone defense, everybody guards the ball. So you're beating your man, but someone else is right there. It's great help side by Georgia.
And again, a lot of contact as Brittany Smith was being pushed around. And Madison Hayes picks up her second personal foul. Smith leaves it short. As an offense, what's frustrating about playing against the zone?
Well, when you're going against the zone, it doesn't look like there are driving gaps, and that is one of the hardest aspects of the zone. So you see Sanaya Rivers gets the ball, and she's just looking at 5 players staring at her. So it doesn't look like there are gaps to attack. There are, it just doesn't look like it. It doesn't feel like it. Again, another foul on the inside. River Baldwin going for the ball. It's been a battle. Can't say enough about the posts battling on the interior.
Mallory Bates, who's got the most experience on this Georgia roster. And Audrey Warren, who's tied her season high with points in 13. The offensive rebound, and on her way back up, Mimi Collins was fouled, a name that we hadn't called in a few minutes after she helped push them through the first 2.5 quarters.
Getting another offensive rebound. She has 6 rebounds on the night, 4 offensive rebounds. It's been huge for NC State getting those opportunities, and give her credit because the possession before, she is battling Brittany Smith defensively wrapped around as Brittany Smith is trying to push her up the lane line. So you're working to exhaustion on the defensive end and then giving extra effort on the offensive end. Mimi Collins has done both.
She knocks down both free throws, and it's a 54-47 lead for NC State. We talked about this being the first real test for Georgia this season, playing against their first-ranked opponent. And so far, they have battled, led by as many as 14 back in the first half. But since then, it's been NC State who took momentum into the locker room, and then they came out energized.
And we haven't seen Georgia. So right now you see the zone defense, everyone kind of just standing. And we haven't seen that energy where their feet are moving and they're talking and they're hustling to each other a little bit here, but it's not to Coach Abe's standard. It's hard in the fourth quarter, but that's what they need to get back into it.
Chance for Georgia to kick it in. Audrey Warren, oh my, career high tonight. 4 threes made for Warren. Not typically known as a three-point shooting team. Tonight, Georgia shooting 55% from beyond the arc. And Warren has it flowing right now. She's going up the left side of the court. She wants the basketball again, a little heat check. Diamond battles, keeping her in her peripheral. Brittany Smith sees that one drop. So right now, the shooting vibes contagious for the Bulldogs, and people coming alive inside Stegeman, yelling defense.
Give Coach Andy Landers credit. When he sat down at halftime, he said, good things happen when we hit outside shots.
Long three as NC State had to work all the way to the end of the shot clock. Georgia with the chance to tie or take the lead. Tough shot there for Battles. Out and running, the Wolfpack. Madison Hayes with the sidestep.
Georgia getting back into the game in an unusual way, knocking down threes. Audrey Warren, career high in threes made. She came in at 23% on the night, but she has put in the work. Coach Abe, she loves it, ish.
Tomorrow night, our SEC Inside grants you an all-access pass to the SEC Championship game between LSU and Georgia. Never seen before footage and sound from players and coaches. A little behind-the-scenes look, 9 Eastern, right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. The reigning national champions and now 2022 SEC champion Georgia football team, 13-0. And how about Stetson Bennett? One of the 4 finalists for the Heisman Trophy. Meanwhile, the Georgia Bulldogs continue to run step for step with NC State. They've found a way to come back in this ball game trailing by just 2, and they want to remain perfect against the Wolfpack as they've done in their previous 9 meetings.
You know, Tiff, not to circle back to Stetson Bennett, but there is a memory that will forever be etched in my mind against Tennessee when he scored a touchdown and put up the phone and said, call me. And I think every athlete at Georgia, if you have a big moment, you should just steal his celebration. Just embody Stetson Bennett, put the phone to your ear, say, call me. It's got to be a big play, though. Like, you hit a 3 to win a game. Like, the game's over. It can't be a shot in the second quarter. You can't say, call me then. It has to be end of the game. Big-time play.
A stellar season that he's had and played terrific in that SEC championship game. And, you know, who's going to be that Georgia player perhaps that can throw up the phone me sign like Stetson Bennett did if they're able to pull off this upset over number 8 NC State.
Historically, you would say diamond battles, but I would give the nod to Audrey Warren tonight with the way that she's been able to knock down shots.
And just having a tough possession here as NC State lucky to get a shot off, and just 1 for 10 prior to that shot falling for Diamond Johnson. And she comes up with a big one, ending a scoring drought of more than 4.5 minutes for the Wolfpack.
And then securing the defensive rebound. So now coming back down the court, you want ball movement, but you don't want to swing it around the perimeter. So NC State, when they're swinging the ball around the perimeter, it is hard to get a good look. You've got to get it into the paint and then kick it out. Inside out. You want the zone to look like an accordion. You collapse it, you expand it. You collapse it. That's how you get good looks against the zone.
Nice visual there in that description. Always teaching, Jerry.
My Grandma Judy played accordion. She played the accordion, apparently. So I know a little something about accordions.
Little known fact about Dre Clark.
Shout out to Grandma Judy.
Lewis falls trying to guard, pops back up. Rivers on the wing, being guarded by Warren.
See, it's a quick swing, but I think Mimi Collins can get the ball. If they can get it to her right over Alicia Lewis.
Offensive foul called against Diamond Johnson. 3rd team foul for the Wolfpack. Georgia has 4. Audrey Warren way off the mark there for 3. And right now, Coach Abe saying, all right, we've got to put the pressure on. Under 2 minutes to go, and Warren got a hand on it, but I think last touch by Warren.
And if you're Mimi Collins, Diamond Johnson telling her, you got it. You can't turn and straight up and make that lazy pass to the opposite side of the court, right? Turn, ball fake. You see Georgia turning up their energy, you got to turn up your energy as well.
Georgia needs to turn up their defense with this 7-point deficit.
But see, you see how Jakia Brown-Turner drops her shoulders, right? So Georgia's energy is increasing. Now NC State's energy is increasing, but that's how you have to play. You can't let Georgia get you on your heels.
Well, that foul now by Georgia puts NC State in the bonus, so they'll be shooting free throws the rest of the way. Another look at it.
And yeah, it's a reach across the body, so it's a foul. The arms get caught up just a little bit. Georgia fans irritated about the foul, but it was there.
The Wolfpack shooting 68% from the free throw line on the season tonight. They're 15 of 19. Brown-Turner missing both.
It's been a tough day for Jakia Brown-Turner. 0 from the field, 0-4.
There's another shot at it, lane violation. And that one rims around in. Georgia has 3 timeouts remaining, trailing by 8. Audrey Warren has been the hot hand tonight for the Bulldogs with 16 points. She's knocked down 4 threes, working against Brown-Turner, picks up her dribble. On the right side, trying to get out of there. Diamond battles, finding Warren. Tough shot. The 3 almost went.
That was great defense by NC State. The recovery, Diamond Johnson getting over the screen, Mimi Collins helping and then getting back in position for the rebound. Just the defense was where it needed to be for NC State that possession. Jakia Brown-Turner, effort on the defensive end. She cuts off Audrey Warren on the drive. So watch, they're trying to ice the ball screen. Mimi Collins shows to help. Diamond Johnson recovers. And I talked earlier about Jakia Brown-Turner struggling from the field as far as scoring, but she's a veteran. She started last season. We talked about the 4 starters lost. She is the lone remaining starter. She is key. It's important for her to be on the floor in these moments coming down to the wire.
As Wes Moore told us, he needs her leadership. She has to grow in these types of moments. Yeah, you may not have the shots falling, but this is a time where you got to rally your team and say, come together. Meanwhile, for Georgia, 10 points, tough to overcome, but not impossible in less than a minute.
With the way that Georgia's able to create turnovers, and it's hard though because it's the 4th quarter, so that exhaustion level is absolutely going to set in, but you can't count the Georgia Bulldogs out. They can create turnovers. Audrey Warren has been knocking down threes. Alicia Smith has knocked down a couple of threes. You create 2-3 turnovers, knock down a couple threes, get a layup. It's a 2-possession game, about 30 seconds left. It can happen, it's not impossible.
As Coach Abe talks it over, what do you expect to see from Georgia in this offensive possession?
You have to think that they're going to look for diamond battles to get the basketball and attack. You want her coming off of ball screens and having options. So maybe Alicia Smith on one side, maybe Audrey Warren on the other.
Smith with 10 points tonight. 1 of 4 in double figures, and a traveling violation, and ouch, that hurts Coach Abe and these Bulldogs. An opportune time for that to happen for the home team. 18th turnover now, and again, they're gonna have to swarm, try to play tough defense, create a turnover. Mimi Collins hesitated, had a chance, and then draws the foul, and nearly gets that one to fall.
And I know we've been giving Mimi Collins credit all night, but to miss the layup for Brittany Smith, great defensive play. But Mimi Collins, she doesn't hang her head. She doesn't drop her head. She stays active, stays in the play, and now has an opportunity to extend the lead.
Lead out now to 11. Mimi Collins. It was a nice all-around game, 18 points. And not 8 rebounds. Make it 19 points now for Collins. And 41.4 seconds away from NC State capturing their first ever win against the Bulldogs.
And NC State, again, showing they can handle runs. They can handle when somebody hits a shot over them. They can handle when their offense isn't coming from players that they're used to it coming from, right? This is a team that was tested against Iowa. They passed the test. They're able to get this win here against Georgia. It is another very impressive pass test in my mind for them to fight back from down 14 and stay diligent and not panic. And again, Mimi Collins with an A++ on her test tonight.
When you think about that win over Iowa, the Wolfpack put up the most points on the road since 1996. They scored 94. Here, they have just 64 points tonight, showing that they can win in a variety of ways. It doesn't always have to be high scoring. They can grind one out.
And they absolutely grinded one out, but this is, like you said, it's an entirely different style of play, and they're showing they're able to do both.
Alicia Lewis had that one contested. Sanaya Rivers and Hobby were right there. Rivers falling to the floor, and Alicia Lewis.
Got to pick it up. You got to pick the ball up.
And the turnover, and 2 points now as Audrey Warren captures her 18th point, but still a lot of work to do. 10 seconds or 10 points separating them. You got a foul here. And with 19 seconds left, Jakia Brown-Turner will go to the free throw line.
Staying diligent, getting back to the game plan. What happened in the 3rd quarter when NC State was getting right back into it? Had a couple of quality offensive possessions against that zone defense. Played solid on the defensive end, stayed in front. NC State is a really good example of you don't have to do anything crazy on the defensive end. Sometimes you just have to be solid. Play scouting report defense, stay between your man and the ball. Mimi Collins all night long, Camille Hobby all night long, They're three-quarter wrapping against Brittany Smith as she is trying to seal hard up the lane. It's those little things on the defensive end that make things tough for offense. Their defense isn't a crazy defense. They're not trapping, they're not running around, but it's solid and it's hard to score against.
When you take a look at the AP top 10, it was NC State jumping up 4 spots, now tied for 8th with North Carolina. ACC represented in the top 10, but you see who's number 1, South Carolina out of the Southeastern Conference, the reigning champs. Boy, Don Staley's group looks outstanding. You think about the reigning National Player of the Year and Aaliyah Boston, but how about the emergence of Camila Cardoso?
Absolutely. I mean, Camila Cardoso, her game, her motor, her strength, her confidence. You said emergence. How about the emergence of Ohio State this season? I mean, my goodness, they are a team that has been extremely impressive. When you talk about having every phase of the game and putting a check mark by it, three-point shooting, inside play, defense, they're checking all of the boxes right now.
You think about it, they were able to win big over Louisville, who was picked to win the ACC in the preseason. NC State came in at 3rd. Alicia Lewis out of the timeout, off the mark there. Audrey Warren chasing down the rebound. And that one partially blocked by Diamond Johnson and just heaving it up. And boy, what an effort we've seen here tonight from NC State. They clamped down, they made the adjustments at halftime, and they came out of the locker room recharged and ready to go, and they pick up their first ever win in program history over the Georgia Bulldogs. Finally successful in their 10th try as Wes Moore and his team move to 8-1 on the season.
This is a quality win for NC State. We talked about 4 new starters, putting the pieces together, building chemistry, playing through adversity, and this is a great lesson for Georgia. It was a tough matchup, a top 10 matchup. NC State stayed diligent. Georgia wasn't able to create those turnovers. How do they create offense when their defense isn't turning people over? They'll learn, they will improve from this, but a quality win for NC State.
Well, the combination of Camille Hobby you see in the frame and Mimi Collins right there leading all scorers with 19 points, 6 of 10 from the floor to go along with 8 rebounds. And they're able to walk away with the win over the Georgia Bulldogs.
We can't say enough about Mimi Collins. We talked about her coming in tonight with almost like a lens on her. Not starting this season, but getting the opportunity because of Jada Boyd being out with the injury. She showed up, she showed out. Physical play on the inside, knocking down shots on the outside, and just giving an elite level of effort as we are here with NC State head coach Wes Moore. Coach, congratulations on the win.
Thanks. You know, we've been on the road so much, you know, at UConn, Cancun for a couple. We played 5 straight Power 5s, you know, away from home. I'm just really proud of our team for hanging in there. You know, it was a tough, hard-fought game, and, you know, we're just glad to get out here.
Well, we were just talking about Mimi Collins. Jada Boyd was out. She fills the role. And, you know, what did you see from her tonight taking advantage of that opportunity?
Yeah, I thought she played really well, you know, and again, it's tough coming in. You know, that's the thing about the portal. You come in, you kind of learn a whole new system, a new culture, and new roles. And I thought tonight she really stepped up when we had to have her, and that's encouraging. But that's, you know, that's what, you know, Mimi's a talented player, and you expect that from her, and she did a great job.
And Coach, just playing off of that thought with Mimi Collins and how well she played, we talked all night long about the physicality on the inside. How would you describe the way that your players battled on the interior tonight?
Yeah, we knew, I mean, Georgia is just an unbelievable offensive rebounding team, and, you know, that's what turned the tide. First quarter, they scored 22 points. Second quarter, 10. I think midway through the second quarter, we had a timeout and we had a come to Jesus meeting. And I think the last 5 minutes of that half, 0 offensive rebounds and only 2 points. So we did a much better job the last 3 quarters or so. But, Georgia's very talented, very athletic, and they create some real matchup problems.
Close ball game at the half. What adjustments did you make? And more importantly, what did you like about the way your team was able to get a win against a different style of play? We talked about the contrast between Georgia and Iowa.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to help us down the road having to play this style. And, again, we just came off a big game with Iowa. And so, I just like the way we fought. We're down at halftime, and I think we were down, 14 at one time. Yep. I'm really proud. This team has a lot of resiliency. They just keep battling. And, again, second half we did a much better job keeping them off the glass. We actually got the ball inside a couple of times. Some of our players didn't have their best nights, but that's what you got to do on a night like that. You got to defend and rebound and find a way to win, as you know from Pat Summitt, right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Coach, you all have USF next, just got a win against Texas.
Yep.
I know you want to enjoy this win, but what needs to improve as you move down the line against tough opponents?
Yeah, South Florida, as you mentioned, beat Texas last year. I know they beat Stanford. Yep. I mean, Jose does a great job, so it's going to be a tough one again. But at least we'll be at home. It'll be good to get back friendly confines of Reynolds Coliseum. But, I don't know. We got to look at offensively. We didn't exactly click tonight. And, again, Georgia had a lot to do with that. But we need to look at that and see if we can clean that up a little bit, maybe score in transition a little bit more than we were able to tonight.
Coach, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much,
y'all.
and enjoy the trip back home.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it.
Well, it's the NC State Wolfpack handing Georgia their first loss here at Stegeman Coliseum. It was a great effort from Mimi Collins and Camille Hobby. Those two combined for 29 points, and more importantly, picking up another dub. 8-1 on the season for the 8th-ranked NC State Wolfpack. For Andrea Carter, I'm Tiffany Green saying so long from Athens. We out.